this video, we're going to do a brief introduction to the periodic table and talk about groups and periods and give some names. So to start with, periods are the rows. So when we talk about rows on the periodic table, those are your periods, and the columns, those are your groups. Okay, so groups are columns and the rows are periods. You'll see a key, and you'll see that you'll have the atomic number, the symbol of the element, the name of the element, and the average atomic mass. Now, if you print it out or have available this periodic table from Canvas, you can follow along with me while we do a little highlighting. Okay, so there's three groups on the periodic table that we want to be familiar with. One of them are called semimetals or metalloids. And it's going to be really important, particularly in the next unit, to know where they are. So if you want to do this along with me, what I'm doing is highlighting the semimetals. That's this group right here. They're along what we call a staircase. Okay, so once you have those, it's easy to find the nonmetals because they're the ones that are here to the right. So all the elements to the right of those semimetals or metalloids are your nonmetals. Okay, so these are the ones that I'm making green right now, and there's also hydrogen. Okay, every other element on the entire periodic table is a metal. Okay, so all of these are metals. Everything's a metal. Okay. So, including these dudes down here. Okay, so it's going to be really important, particularly in the next unit, to know where your metals and nonmetals are, because it's going to allow us to name things. Okay, the other thing we're going to want you to know is the name of a few of the groups. Okay, the alkaline metals are this first group here. Okay, the alkaline earth metals are this second group. So 1A and 2A. And we're going to see that elements in a group have a lot of things in common, so it's important to kind of know where they are. Another group that you'll want to know are the halogens, and that's right here. So 7A. And then the last one we'd like you to be familiar with for groups are the noble gases. Okay, that's your last group. So the first two and the last two, we'll want you to know their names. This group here is called the carbon group, this is called the nitrogen group, and this is called the oxygen group because they begin with carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. There's a few other places where you're going to want to be familiar with things. Okay, this group right in here, all these metals in here, they have a name. Okay, these are called your transition metals. Okay, so they're all called transition metals. So they're going to do something in particular next unit. So this whole group here, transition metals, okay? And then this group, these down here, these are all your inner transition metals. Because I don't know if you can tell, but this goes from 57 down here to 58 to 71 back up to 72. These two rows actually belong right in here. The reason they're put down at the bottom is if they were tucked in there, the periodic table would be twice as wide, and it would be hard to put on a piece of paper. So we want you to be familiar with what groups are, what periods are, and some of the names of groups, and particularly next unit, not so much this one, you'll want to know where your semimetals are. Okay, these are all the yellow ones, those are your semimetals. Okay, and then you want to be able to identify your nonmetals, and then the rest of the periodic table are metals. So there's your introduction to the periodic table.